There is a way of leaving that almost no one recognizes as strength because it makes no sound, no slammed door, no final speech where you finally say everything you rehearsed for years, no message sent at 3 in the morning explaining one last time everything that went wrong, no waiting by the phone for an apology that was never going to come. You simply gather yourself and you go, quietly, with a kind of dignity that asks no one for applause. And here is the strange part. That silent leaving is one of the most powerful things a human being can do, and one of the hardest. Because it asks for something almost none of us were ever trained to give, the ability to release without closure, to walk away without being understood, to choose yourself without waiting for someone to hand you permission. We were taught the opposite. Try once more. Explain it better. Stay. Give it another chance. And sometimes that is exactly the right and loving thing. But there are moments when the wisest, bravest act available to you is not to fight harder. It is to close the door so gently that the softness itself becomes the thing that lingers in the room. The old contemplative traditions understood this long before we did. They knew that some doors are meant to close without a sound. So stay with me, because by the end of this you'll understand why the quietest exits are the ones that change us most, and how to make one without ever needing anyone's permission to leave. Part 1. Why you keep waiting for a goodbye that never comes. Somewhere in your home, there may be a letter you never sent. Maybe not on paper. Maybe it lives only in your head, a letter you have written and rewritten 100 times. In it, you finally explain everything. Why you were hurt, what they did, how long you carried it. You arrange the words so carefully that this time surely they will have to understand. And each time you imagine their face softening. You imagine them saying the thing you have waited so long to hear. I see it now. I'm sorry. You were right. But that reply never comes. And so you keep the letter open, unfinished, waiting. The Buddha once described suffering through the image of 2 arrows. The first arrow is the thing that actually happened to you, the wound, the betrayal, the person who could not love you the way you needed. That arrow lands. It hurts, and no wisdom in the world can make it not hurt. But the second arrow he taught is the one we fire into ourselves. It is the replaying, the rehearsing, the waiting by the phone. The second arrow is not what they did to you, it is what you keep doing to yourself long after they have gone. And here is what he understood that we so often miss. Your freedom was never hiding inside their answer. The peace you are waiting for is not something they can hand you. It is not locked in their apology, their understanding, their sudden change of heart. You could wait an entire lifetime for a door that is never going to open and call that waiting loyalty when it is only the second arrow wearing a kinder name. Think of how many times you tried to explain to someone exactly how they were hurting you, and the conversation ended worse than it began. You did not fail because your words were poor. Some people cannot understand your reasons, not because the reasons are wrong, but because truly understanding them would mean facing something in themselves they are not ready to face. In the Buddhist view, this is simply the shape of where they are on their own path. Their inability to see you is not a verdict on your worth. This is the quiet truth beneath so much of our pain. We confuse being understood with being free. The Buddha taught that clinging, even clinging to something as reasonable as wanting to be understood, is itself a source of our suffering. So we stand in the doorway for years, 1 foot out, 1 foot in, refusing to leave, until we receive a permission that was never theirs to give. But closure was never a gift handed to you by another. It is something you set down quietly inside your own chest. A moment where something in you goes still and says, I have seen enough. I have understood enough. I have given enough. That sentence needs no one's agreement to be true. You can lay the letter down now, not out of anger, not because you lost, but because you have finally stopped firing the second arrow and given yourself at last the peace no one else was ever going to hand you. Part 2. What your tiredness is trying to tell you. Have you ever left someone's company and felt for no reason you could name a little smaller than when you arrived? Not insulted, not wronged in any way you could point to, just quietly diminished, as if some warmth in you had been turned down a notch and you walked out carrying less of yourself than you brought in. And then have you noticed the opposite, those rare people you leave feeling fuller, lighter, more like the person you actually are? That difference is not your imagination, it is information, and the Buddha asked us to pay very close attention to it. Picture an oil lamp. It has only so much oil, and each night that oil burns down. Set the lamp in a room where someone is reading, resting, finding their way home in the dark, and the flame becomes light. It warms the space it serves. But set that same lamp in an empty hallway, or hand it to someone who never even looks up to notice it is lit, and the flame burns exactly the same oil. It gives the same fire, and it warms no one. The oil is gone either way. The only question is whether it became light or simply disappeared. Your presence is that oil. Your time, your attention, the tender energy you offer another person, it is not endless, and it does not return in the same form once it is spent. Why then do we pour it so freely into rooms that cannot hold it? The Buddha spoke often about the company we keep. He did not frame it as a matter of judging others, but of honest seeing. Are the people around me helping me become more awake, more kind, more myself? Or are they slowly pulling me under? To ask that question is not coldness. It is one of the most caring things you can do, and most of us are afraid to ask it out loud. Because here is where the guilt begins. The person draining your lamp may have done nothing unforgivable, no great betrayal, no moment you could ever justify to another soul. Only a slow, wordless taking. And so, you tell yourself, you have no right to pull away. That leaving would make you the cruel one, the selfish one, the one who abandoned someone who never did anything wrong. But is it truly selfish to protect a flame that was meant to give light? The Buddha taught that we cannot pour from a lamp that has gone dark. The tiredness you feel is not a flaw in your character. It is the flame telling you it is being spent in a room where no one is warmed. Wise attention in the Buddhist understanding is not about turning cold toward people. It is about seeing clearly where your light actually lands. You do not need to hate the room to stop giving it your oil. You do not need someone to become a villain before you are allowed to protect your own flame. Your presence is a gift. And a gift given to someone who cannot receive it is not generosity. It is only a lamp quietly burning itself out in an empty room. Part 3. The difference between running away and walking free. There is a fear that keeps many of us in rooms we outgrew long ago. Not the fear of staying, the fear of what leaving would say about us. That if we walk away, we will be seen as the one who gave up, the one who wasn't strong enough, the one who ran. So we stay, and we call it strength. And all the while, something quieter in us knows the truth. But consider two people walking through the very same door. The first is running from a burning house, heart pounding, breath ragged, fleeing something that terrifies them, not choosing where they go, only desperate to be anywhere but here. The second walks through the same door, slowly, having decided, having understood. They leave a room whose season has simply ended the way one steps out of a summer house in autumn, not in panic, but because the warmth that once lived there has quietly gone. Same door, opposite spirit, and only you can know which one you are. The Buddhist tradition has always made this distinction with great care. For centuries, contemplatives have taught that there is fleeing which is born of fear, and there is release which is born of clarity. Fleeing is the animal instinct to escape what overwhelms us. Release is something rarer and in truth far harder, the calm decision to let go of something precisely because you see it clearly, without the fog of panic, without the story that you are being defeated. This is where so many people misunderstand what it means to let go. They imagine it is weakness, giving up, going numb, no longer caring. But in the contemplative traditions, conscious letting go was never the easy path. It was considered one of the highest practices a human being could undertake. Anyone can cling, anyone can flee. It takes a rare kind of strength to look at something with open eyes to feel its full weight. And then to set it down anyway, not because you stopped caring, but because caring for yourself finally weighed the same as caring for it. Ask the old teachers what courage looked like, and they would rarely point to the one who fought hardest to hold on. They would point to the one who could release with a steady hand, because clinging in this understanding is not devotion. Clinging is fear wearing the mask of love. So when you finally leave quietly without slamming anything, without a farewell speech, understand what is actually happening. You are not the one who fled the fire. You are the one who looked at a room grown cold, felt the whole truth of it, and chose peace over the comfort of the familiar. That is not the trembling of someone running. That is the stillness of someone who has seen clearly. The world may still call it giving up. Let it. The world often mistakes a quiet exit for defeat because it cannot see the years of clarity that made the door finally open. You know the difference. You feel it in your chest. And that steadiness, that quiet, unpanicked steadiness, is not the sign of someone who ran. It is the sign of someone who at last walked free. Part 4. The power in what you refuse to say. We live in a world that never stops talking. Say how you feel. Speak your truth. Get it off your chest. Don't hold it in. And much of that is good counsel. There is real harm in swallowing our pain year after year until it hardens into something bitter. But somewhere along the way, we came to believe that silence is always weakness. That if you did not say the last word, you lost. That to walk away without explaining yourself is to leave something unfinished, something cowardly. So let me offer you a different kind of silence to consider and a small practice to feel it for yourself. Think of a piece of music you love. Now notice something you may never have noticed before. The music does not live only in the notes. It lives in the spaces between them. Take away the pauses, and you do not get more music, you get noise. The rest, the breath, the silence between two notes, is not the absence of music. It is part of the music. It is what gives the sound its meaning. Your silence can be like that, not empty, full. Here is the practice. The next time you feel the old urge to explain yourself one more time, to send the message, to win the argument, to make them finally see, pause before you speak. Just for a breath, and ask yourself one honest question. Does what I am about to say still belong here to this person in this moment? Sometimes the answer will be yes, and you should speak. But sometimes in that small pause you will feel it clearly. These words have nowhere left to land. And choosing not to spend them is not repression. It is wisdom. The Buddha spoke of what he called right speech, speaking what is true, what is kind, what is useful, and what arrives at the right time. But those who practiced it understood something deeper that is easy to miss. Right speech also includes the knowing of when not to speak at all. Silence chosen with clarity is itself a form of speech. It is not the same as biting your tongue in fear. It is the fullness of having already decided, because some things lose their dignity the very moment you turn them into an argument. Your grief, your worth, your quiet decision to leave, hold these up for debate, and you hand the other person the power to grant them or deny them. But keep them in the stillness of your own knowing, and they remain wholly yours. No one can argue you out of a truth you never put on the table. When you leave without a speech, you are not leaving something unsaid. You are saying something that no words could carry as cleanly. You are saying, I have understood, I have decided, and I no longer need you to agree in order for it to be real. That is the strange power in what you refuse to say. The loudest thing in the room is often the person who finally stopped explaining, the one who let the silence between the notes speak and simply gently walked into the pause. Part 5. What fills the space you leave behind? Here is a promise you have probably heard and probably distrusted. When you let go of what drains you, something better will come. It is true, but it is rarely told honestly, because it does not happen the way the bright voices promise instantly, magically, one door closing and another swinging open in the very same breath. That is not how a life actually heals. What really comes first, almost always, is the empty space, the silence where their voice used to be, the strange, aching hollowness of a hand that has finally let go and now holds nothing at all. And this is the part no one prepares you for. That emptiness will tempt you. It will whisper that you made a mistake, that anything is better than this hollow quiet, that you should reach back and fill the space with the very thing you just set down, or with anything, anyone, just to stop the ache of the open hand. But consider the hand itself. A hand closed tightly around something can hold that one thing with all its strength. What it cannot do is receive. It cannot be handed a single new thing because it is already full. To take hold of what is coming, the hand must first open, and an open hand for a while holds nothing. That emptiness is not failure. It is the shape of readiness. There is an old understanding at the heart of the contemplative path that what binds us is not only the things we love, but the things that harm us. We imagine attachment is about affection, about holding tight to what is dear. But we can be just as bound to what wounds us, to the argument we keep rehearsing, to the person who drains us, to the familiar ache we have carried so long it feels like part of who we are. The chain does not care whether its link is made of love or of pain. It binds all the same. So when you release something that was harming you, do not be frightened by the emptiness that follows. You have not lost. You have simply opened the hand, and the discomfort you feel is not the absence of a good life. It is the space where one is quietly being made. Picture a cup that has held stale water for years. You cannot pour something fresh into it while the old water still fills it to the brim. It must be emptied first. And in the moment between the pouring out and the filling again, the cup stands empty, and that emptiness is not its ruin. It is the only condition under which it can be filled at all. Your task in that hollow season is simple, and it is hard. Do not rush to refill the cup with the first thing that comes along, only to escape the emptiness. Let it be empty a while. Trust that a life does not tolerate a true and honest space for long, that what belongs to who you are now, once your hands are finally open, will find its way in. Not immediately. Not without patience. But it comes. It always quietly comes. Part 6. Who you become on the way out there is something that happens to you when you finally leave something that has nothing to do with the person you left behind. You change. Not in a sudden dramatic way. Not overnight. But at a depth that is hard to put into words. The way you return from a long walk in the cold and the quiet, and you cannot point to a single thing that shifted, yet you know you came back different, change not on the surface but somewhere down at the level of the bones. Because the act of leaving with dignity does something to you that no amount of thinking about it ever could. For years, perhaps, you told yourself that your peace mattered, that your worth was real, that you deserved better. But it stayed an idea, a hope you held, a sentence you repeated to yourself in the dark and only half believed. And then one quiet day you did the thing. You walked out. You chose yourself not in words but in action. And in that moment, something in you learned what 1,000 affirmations never taught it. This is real. She meant it. He was not just wishing. The Buddha taught that we are shaped moment by our intentional actions, that every choice made in line with our deepest values does not simply pass and vanish, but leaves a mark, bends us a little further toward the person we are becoming. Nothing we do with real intention is ever truly lost. It settles into us. It becomes part of the ground we stand on. So when you leave with clarity and with quiet dignity, you are not only ending something, you are teaching your own nervous system a lesson it will carry into everything that comes after. You are showing yourself with undeniable proof that you are capable of honoring your own peace, that you can set a boundary and survive it, that your well-being is not a pretty intention you keep on a shelf, but something you will actually act upon when the moment demands it. And this is the part that no one can ever take from you. A situation can wound you, a person can misunderstand you, can tell the whole world a false story about why you left, but they cannot touch the certainty you built with your own hands. Because you did not merely hope you were worth protecting, you proved it. And a truth you have proven with action lives in a deeper place than any truth you only believed. The person who walks back through that door is not the one who first walked in. She carries a steadiness that was not there before. He knows something about himself, now that fear had kept hidden for years, that when it truly mattered he chose his own peace, and the ground did not give way beneath him. The Buddha spoke of walking toward a freer, more whole self, one honest step at a time. This was one of those steps, not towards someone perfect, towards someone more free. And you will feel it quietly, certainly in the way you carry yourself down every road that comes after this one. Somewhere right now there is an empty chair, a chair where someone used to sit, a room that has gone quiet where there used to be noise, and a person, maybe you, standing in the soft stillness that follows, a door closed gently without a slam, without a speech, without anyone's permission. Notice that you are still breathing. Notice that the ground is still there beneath you. There is an old truth at the heart of the Buddha's teaching, that everything which comes together must in time come apart. Every meeting holds a parting inside it from the very beginning. We spend our lives resisting this, gripping what was never ours to keep. But there is a strange peace on the other side of it. When you stop demanding that things stay, an empty chair stops being only a loss. It becomes what it always was, the quiet, natural shape of a life still moving, still opening. I want to say something honestly in my own voice before we part. In all my years of sitting with these teachings, the hardest one to truly trust is this, that the quietest choices are often the ones that ask the most of us. No one applauds a silent departure. No one sees the courage it took, and still it changes a life. I have watched it change mine. So I will leave you with a single question to carry. Is there a chair in your life that has stayed empty for a long time, a room you keep returning to, hoping the silence will finally answer you? You do not have to explain it to anyone. But if a name or a quiet feeling rose up in you just now, you might set it down in the comments below, not for me, only for yourself. Sometimes naming a thing is the first soft step toward walking free of it. Take care of your peace, and the door, when you are ready, will close without a sound.